Hey everyone, welcome to Board Game Essentials. My name is Kodai. Today I'm going to be teaching you Xenoshyft. Xenoshyft is a cooperative deck building game for 1 to 4 players, where players are going to be taking control of space marines in order to fight off the hordes and hordes of aliens that are coming towards their base. Let me show you how to play. For the setup of the game, put the respective troops and Xenoshyft crystals on their positions on the playmat. Each player receives a Hive Lane dashboard, a Nortech dashboard, 4 militia cards, 6 1-value Xenoshyft cards, 1 division card, along with the 2 items from their division. In my case, I get 2 high EX grenades. Place the item cards players drew from their divisions onto the item dashboard. Then shuffle up the item tracker deck and fill the remaining spots on the dashboard. Shuffle up Wave 1, Wave 2, and Wave 3 decks. Each wave will have bosses. Place 1 boss for a 1 to 2 player game, and 2 bosses for a 3 to 4 player game into their respective wave decks. Set the base's health tracker to plus 15 for each player in the game. So in a 2-player game, we're going to have 30 health points for our base. There are 5 phases to go through each round, and they are draw, acquire resources, deployment, combat, and wrap up. Players shuffle up their respective starting decks and draw 6 cards. So in my starting deck, I have 4 militia, 6 Xenoshyft cards, and 2 high EX grenades. So here I'm just going to grab my starting hand of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like that. During the draw phase, if any player has less than 6 cards in their hand, they draw back up to 6, shuffling any cards in their discard pile to create a new deck if need be. During the acquire resources phase, each player will receive 1 Xenoshyft card depending on the wave they are on. 1 value of Xenoshyft for wave 1, 3 value for wave 2, and 6 value for wave 3. Then players can purchase items and troops with their Xenoshyft using the upper right value as the purchase cost. Any Xenoshyft that is not used is lost at the end of this phase. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to acquire my resource, which is the Xenoshyft. And in my hand, I have 3 Xenoshyft to spend. And I'm going to put them in my discard pile. I'm also going to use my scientific lab ability. And it says, once per round, reduce the cost of 1 science card by 1 to a minimum of 1. And you're going to use these blue tokens to indicate when an ability is used. So I'm going to reduce the cost of the HI EX grenade. So that costs 2, so I'm able to purchase it. And it goes directly into my hand. During the deployment phase, players deploy troops on their Nortech dashboard in any order they like on an unoccupied space. Players can also use equipment cards on their troops, however, only 1 weapon and 1 armor per troop. Players may even play troops and equipment on other players' Nortech dashboards. This gives that player the card played permanently and will eventually go into his or her discard pile. Once all players are happy with their assignments, the next phase is combat. So in my hand, I have 3 militia. So I have 1, 2, and 3. So let's say one of my teammates hands me over a pulse armor because he has lots of them. So he gives me one, and I get to play it on a troop, and I'm going to play it on this guy. And you just place it underneath. Now his power is 1 plus 2, and he has a special ability as well. Next is the combat phase. Combat is performed by 1 player, while others have a chance to help and or watch. Players are dealt 4 cards from the wave deck face down on their Hive Lane dashboard. Combat is broken down into 5 steps: reveal enemy, reaction, fight, advancement, and wrap up. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the Hive Wave 1 deck and fill up my enemy lane. Okay, now that I have my lane set up, let's go to the reveal enemy step. You're going to flip the first enemy in lane. If it has a reveal effect, it happens now. So we're going to flip this guy, and it's the Gatherer, and there's no reveal effect. At this time, all players have a chance to react to the revealed enemy, playing special abilities on their cards or instant abilities from their hands. Or troops may or may not have special abilities as well. I do have a chance to react. I could throw one of my grenades at it, and I think I will. So I'm going to spend my grenade to my discard pile, and it says deal 3 damage to 1 enemy. So I'm going to choose to use it on the Gatherer. So I'm going to take it and discard him. The grenade deals 3 damage, and he only has a power of 2. So that's why I was able to defeat him. Once all players are content during the reaction step, the next thing is for the player to fight the hive monster with the closest troop in the lane. They will both deal damage simultaneously, unless stated otherwise by an ability. Place a number of damage tokens equal to the power value on the bottom left to both Hive and Nortech troops. Now determine if there is a winner of that combat by comparing damage tokens on the card to the health value on the bottom left of the card. Go to the advancement step next unless there's no winner. If there's no winner yet, then perform the fight step again until one troop is dead. In this case, I just destroyed the Hive alien before it could even get to my first militia. So I am going to advance the Hive enemy. So the next thing I'm going to do is go back to the reveal enemy step. So I'm going to reveal, and it's a smoker, and he says, reveal, place this enemy at the end of the enemy lane. So I'm going to do that now. And these are going to shift. And we're back to square one. We're going to reveal the next enemy. It's a charger. There's no reveal effect. And now comes the reaction step. And let's say no one else wants to step in for a reaction. Let's go back to the fight step. So we're going to compare our number values to one another, and they're going to fight simultaneously. So the militia will defeat the charger, and the charger will defeat the militia. However, the charger has a special ability. This enemy deals any damage exceeding a troop's health points to the next troop in lane. If there are no additional troops in lane, the base suffers this damage instead. So this is actually really bad for us. These two kill each other, but this is going to suffer a damage. And the effect's going to carry over again to this guy. And he only has 1 health point, so then the last of his 3 attack shifts over to this guy. So this is not looking good, as these 2 guys are dead. And the charger's dead. One last troop in lane. Hopefully we can pull this one out. Now we're going to advance my troops. We're going to advance the enemy. And we're going to go over it again. We're going to reveal. And the overseer. Also, I forgot, the smoker in the back gave an additional power to the charger. So this guy actually has 2 damage. Whew! Definitely not looking good. So now the militia and the overseer are going to fight. The overseer says, each time this enemy kills a troop, burn that troop and then search the wave 1 encounter deck for a gatherer card and place it at the end of the enemy lane. Well, I at least want to kill it, so I'm going to react by throwing another grenade at it, dealing 3 damage. And none of my other allies have anything else to do any damage to it. But at least I was able to deal 3. And when they attack simultaneously, they're going to kill each other. So this guy's gone. And along with this armor goes into my discard pile now. And burning a troop means goes back here. This overseer's dead. And since it killed an enemy troop, I'm going to search the wave 1 deck for a gatherer. And place it at the end. Definitely not good for the base. Combat will continue like this until one lane is empty. This will lead us to the aftermath step. During the aftermath step, there are one of 2 outcomes. The first one is there are no enemy cards in the lane. Congratulations, you survived this round and no additional damage to your base. The second outcome is there are no more troops in your lane to fight the hive and you become overrun. Reveal any more enemy cards if you haven't already and complete their reveal effects. Each player will then have one last opportunity to react to the enemy using instants or card effects, using any way they can to kill the enemy. After each player has had a chance to react and there are still enemies, the base will suffer damage equal to the enemy's power and then the enemy will be discarded. This will be repeated for each remaining enemy card in lane until all enemies have been discarded, or the base has reached 0 hit points. So here we're going to shift these over. So the smoker has 1, and the smoker gives a +1 power to him, so he has 3. So he's going to deal the base a total of 4 damage. We're going to discard these. We're going to adjust the base. So we'll be at 26. This brings us to the wrap-up phase. During this phase, each player may discard as many cards from their hand as they wish to their own discard pile. Rearrange any surviving troop cards and equipment cards in their lane. If any of the available item stacks are empty, then randomly draw a card from the item tracker deck, replacing the old one with a newly drawn one. Advance the wave tracker on the play area by 1. A blue ability token will be used to track this. After 3 rounds have been completed, the game shifts from using the Hive Wave 1 deck to the Wave 2 deck. You should now note that you can use and purchase Wave 2 troops, as well as being able to earn the 3 valued Xenoshyft cards at the beginning of your turn. Then look at your division card for your newly unlocked ability. There is a very similar process after round 6 for Wave 3. The game will either end after the base's HP has reached 0, or the player survived all the way past round 9 and they were successful in holding back the enemy hive. Those are all the essentials you need to play.